Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and what we're going to look at today is pitching. We're going to do a couple of shots. We're going to do a 40 to 50 yard pitch into the green, and then we'll do a little pitch over a bunker where you've got very little green to work with. So we're going to go through a few things. For me, if you do these things, get into a routine. This is the biggest thing I see with golfers. They're changing their shots all the time. If it's not working, they then change very quickly. Find a routine, find an idea, stick to it. Okay, just don't hit 5 shots and change your mind. Go and hit 500. If it's not working, then you can change your mind. So I'm going to go through a few what I call my rules of what I would do when I play these shots. And the number one rule when I start is when I'm playing a shot into a green, we can see here we've got about a 40 to 50 yard pitch, and we've probably got about 40 foot of green between the edge of the green and the flag. And this is my number one rule. I've done it on a couple of videos before, and it's what I call the 2-step rule. And it is land the ball, if you can do it, at least 2 steps onto the green. And why do we do this? The reason for doing this is the green should be the best surface on the golf course, so you should get the most consistent bounce. Now we can see on this particular shot, it's quite a clear run up to the hole. So if you are a golfer who's not comfortable hitting a pitch shot, I'm not going to stop you taking something like an 8-iron. Even nowadays, a lot of you are using sort of hybrids and running the ball up onto the green. Okay, so if that works for you, please do it. I'm not going to stop you doing it. This is all about pitching, so that's what we're going to focus on today. So that number one rule, if you can land it on the green, at least 2 steps, do it. So, as I say, we've got about a 40-45 yard shot here. I'm going to play this with just my standard 56-degree wedge. Okay, so a sand iron, basically. And I'm comfortable with that. I like that shot. I like to see height. I like to see it land on the green. And as I said, then I feel I can stop. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is that sort of flight of the shot. And that's a little bit understanding your equipment, but also what we're going to talk about in a minute is your setup, to make sure you make a setup that allows you to get the flight that you want, and then the expectation of then how far the ball's going to roll. So every time you're playing a shot, it's all about getting the line and the length. But on this shot, you're looking now very much at how far do I fly it, how far would I expect it to roll, and you've got to put those 2 bits together. And that's the fun of it. When I get to a shot, it's the excitement of visualizing the shot and working out what I'm going to do. Now, here's the thing we're going to talk about now, setup. If I picked up a 56-degree club and I did a full swing with this and hit it full speed, I would probably get, let's say as a number, around about 70-75 yards. That's my number I get for me. Okay? And I don't like to hit it any harder than that, because if I try to hit it harder, it feels like the ball just gets airborne and I lose control. So this is why I like this shot. It's a 40-45 yard shot, and I now feel I can control the shot. Now, because I'm not going to look at full power, I'm just going to come to the camera this way. If I was hitting full power, there's my full width of stance. So here's my biggest setup point I say to every golfer when they get inside that sort of full swing distance, that controlled shot, you've got to narrow the stance. Bring the stance in. It's a bit like throwing a ball. If I said to you throw a ball as far as you can, you'd be here and you'd have your feet wide apart, you'd create power, you'd create energy, you're going to throw the ball a good distance. If I suddenly said to you go and throw it half the distance, you'd probably narrow the stance and go underarm. So you can see how you start to control it. That's powerful, that's controlling, and that's what you've got to do in your stance. So when you set up to the ball, don't stand there with a big and then try and control the swing. Narrow the stance. And straight away I feel as soon as you narrow the stance, mentally you make a smaller swing. You don't think you've got as much power. So straight away that's helping the shot, because we don't need to hit this at full power. So that's my number one rule really on setup, is narrow the stance. The second thing I want to make sure I do, I get a good contact on the ball. So I always play my ball position here, and get the camera at this angle, will always favour middle to slightly back in my stance. Okay, so not way off my back foot. That's going to take a lot of loft off the club. But what I see a lot of amateurs do, they play it off their front foot because I think that will give them the loft. The great thing with golf clubs nowadays is you can go into a shop and you can buy whatever loft you want. So if you can play it pretty centrally, and this is the key thing I want you to think about, we did this on a driver lesson, is get the shaft pretty much at right angles to where you want to go. If you return there, the club is going to perform to its best. Okay, if we have the shaft lean too much, that's where the club could dig into the ground, or we're taking loft off. If we bring the shaft back, that's going to bring in the chance of hitting the ground or topping it. And both those shots as well, if I do that, chances are now you can see where the shaft is, it's a right angle, so that's going to go left. If I'm way ahead, it's going to go right. So we're trying to keep as many things really as consistent and as simple as we can. And that's really important. So let's put all those ideas together. We've got 3 or 4 balls here that we're going to play up onto the green. And I'm always a believer that you get to the golf course, the greenkeeper's just actually watered this green. We had a little bit of rain overnight, and we've had a really dry sort of time here at in Kent over the last sort of month. So the course has got very dry, and we're only really just coming into May. So it's amazing how dry it is. Normally be a lot more receptive to greens, but we've had a little bit of rain. So it's a little bit, for me, a little bit of, guesswork for this first shot. And that's the trial and error of golf. And that's where you've got to realise that if you're playing, what you're doing in the first 3 or 4 holes is sensing what's happening, and then you adapt that to the rest of your round. And that's what makes it fun, because if you can, it just shows how good your skill level is. That's what we're after. Right, enough of my talking. Let's hit a few shots. So I'm picturing a shot, at least 2 paces on. There's a shadow on the green. I'm thinking if I can just land it over that, I'm expecting this from this distance to run about 20 feet. There's my narrow stance, slightly back in my stance. From there, feel the shot. Struck that nicely. See what we get. Wow, okay. He has watered the green. I mean, that ball, I probably landed that, if I'm honest, about 10 feet further than I wanted, and I still haven't made the flag. Okay, but that actually excites me, because if the greens are that receptive, then I know I can land the ball on the green. So straight away, that first shot has taught me a lot to think, great, okay, I can get a result from that. Now I've got to have the confidence in myself to let my instincts take over to throw the ball a little bit further. So I'm doing the same process. I'm not changing my setup. I'm just feeling the shot. And now I probably want to land this on that ball. Okay, from there, throwing it up a little bit more. See what we get. Well, yeah, I mean, they're literally stopping very, very quickly on the green. And that's a combination of, I've struck both of those really nicely. I mean, you can see there, that one's come smack out of the middle of the golf club. Can't hit a better shot. That's probably stopped within a flagstick length, which I haven't seen that happen probably since going back into January or February, because the greens have been quite firm. Okay, still land it on the green and it will stop, but not as quick as they are now. So now there's 2 options to that now. If that, for me, that excites me. If it scares you a bit and you think I've got to land it a bit closer, go to a club with a little bit less loft and land it at the front of the green, let it run up. Use, sort of experiment. I think that's the key thing. I love wedge shots. This is the most fun part of the game for me. This is the ultimate line and length shot. I've played 2 shots there. I've played one perfect line. It's probably ended up 8 feet short. And I've got one perfect weight, and it's probably about 3 to 4 feet right of the hole. If we can put them together, you never know, could be in the hole. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to go and have a go at doing the same idea over a bunker and keep the consistency of this idea. So throw it all the way up. Okay. Yep, that's the closest yet. And this is all experience. This is all I know now. It's like there's part of my brain going, wow, this is great, because I now know what it's going to do. So it's down to me to commit. Oh, strike on that was lovely. That could be in. Okay, well, I got a little bit excited on that last one and landed it a little bit too far. Still on the green, but I think that was the key thing. Probably doing this video, getting a bit excited. I've then ended up being a little bit too firm with it. But at the end of the day, I struck it lovely. I can learn from it all day long. Now what I've got to do is have the confidence to take that idea into what looks a little bit of a trickier shot. Is it a change of club, or is it just a change of feel for the shot? Well, let's go and create something and give you a new idea of what we're going to do. So here's our second shot. We're playing a shot now over a bunker. We've got probably around about, from the edge of the green to the flag, we've got around about 15 feet of green to play with. But here's the key thing. For me, it's about what's a good result. And what I mean by that is not so much how close we get this to the hole, is how many shots it takes me to get down into the hole from this position. And what I would say to most of you as amateur golfers, if you get this down in 3, you've done brilliantly. Okay, that's the key thing. How many times are you going to get, even a normal pitch with nothing in your way, you're going to get down in 2. Even if you're a pretty good player, it's probably only half the time. Put something in your way, mentally, what I see with golfers here, the fear comes in and they're more scared of putting this in the bunker and they mess the shot up completely. So what would be a distance you'd be happy with to end up near the hole? And you might say, well, anything inside 15 feet. Now, draw a 15-foot circle around the hole. That means you can go 15 feet past. That's okay. Because if you can two-putt that, and maybe once in a while you do one-putt it, you're doing exactly what you need to do. So I think that's really important. That's where my two-step rule on this shot is really important, because we've got the bunker. We've probably got about 8 to 10 feet of grass that's a bit inconsistent. It's also falling back into the bunker. And what people tend to think then is, I've just got to get it over the bunker. They catch that and it rolls back in. And all of a sudden now they go to the shot they probably hate the most, which is the bunker shot. And from this position, they're in the bunker. Before they know it, they've taken 5 shots to get down from here. So they've hit it for 1 on a par 3 to this position and walked off with a 6. Bogeys, whatever level you play at, are not going to really ruin your scorecard. Okay, and every player makes bogeys. You watch the tournaments on TV, even the winner of the tournament, by the end of it, in that last round, he's probably had 1 or 2 bogeys. So realise a bogey's okay, all right? If you are looking to break 90, 17 bogeys and a par, and you've done it. So you can look at it and go, I can do that a lot of the time. So looking at the shot, 15 feet past isn't a bad result. Now, choice of club now. This is not great grass here. It's a bit, again, as I said earlier, we're very dry. The growth hasn't been there this spring. So I've got 2 options here. I want a little bit of loft because I want to get over the bunker. Are you confident to carry on with the 56? Or are you happier to go with a little bit lower to put it 15 feet past? Or are you happy to go even higher and go, say, a 60 degree? That's your choice. But here's the key thing. I'm going to stick with the 56. I've got the same rules in my mind. 2-step rule, land it on the green. At least 2 steps on. That takes me now a good nearly 20 feet past the front of the bunker. Brilliant. Okay, so that really, in my mind, should take the bunker out of play. I'm not going to change the setup. If anything, I'm going to go narrower, because what do I want to feel? The feeling of being softer, because it's not such a big swing. Okay, so that's important. Am I going to change the ball position? No, middle to centre. But because I've gone even narrower, it will look to me like, yeah, it probably is closer to my back foot. But that's because the stance is narrower. So there are little things there that we're picking up as we're going along. I get people automatically grip down the club. I have no problem with that, but the lie might change. So I'm all more about posture. Find your posture from that position. Naturally, as you go closer together, you're going to be a little bit more upright. So actually, you feel a bit closer. You might need to grip a little bit more up the club, depending on your height, or grip down it on your height. So play around with that. That's a key thing. Going back to that stance. And now it's feel. Now it's the fun. Okay, we've got 4 lies here. They're a little bit close together, so I will move them. But from there, all I feel now, a tiny little bit of weight on my left side to make sure I keep the club descending. Play it up. Now, on that occasion, I've been quite firm to make sure I'm over the bunker. It's probably gone around about 8 feet past the hole. But the bunker didn't exist. That's the great thing with it. So let's do 3 more. Now, again, as I'm doing this, can I improve the feel? I've got one advantage today. I was downwind going on the longer one. I'm a little bit into the wind this way. So that helps to get it to stop a little bit quicker. But again, same commitment. That one's nicer. Good. And amazing. Felt a better shot and it's run on a little bit more. And that's the thing. You can't control everything. A little bit of grass around the ball. Camera may not be perfectly in line, but I'm just putting them. Going to move that one. I just chucked them down on the ground and left them there. So you'll just see what we get. Same setup, still within a flagstick length, very happy. That one's come out a lot softer, but because it felt like there was grass between club face and ball, and you can see the length of the grass there that I've hit against, okay, that ball then had a little bit, there's no such thing really in this shot as topspin, it just didn't have as much backspin, so it ran on nicely. That's ended up probably only 3 feet away. This one's sitting down a little bit, but I'm not changing the technique because that stance is going to help me to strike down to get the contact on the ball. And that felt, out of all of them, the best strike of the lot, and it's ended up one of the better shots. So you can see there, I know the camera may not have been perfectly in line, but that was because I just chucked the balls down. I didn't really want to give myself good lies. Just put them on the ground, play them. But what we can see, let's stick to those rules. Number 1, 2-step rule. Always land the ball on the green. 2, create a controlled, good, narrow stance setup, so you feel you've got more control on the shot. 3, now from those points, start to learn when you hit the ball, how's the ball reacting? Where have I got to land it? How far is it rolling? What's the height that I'm getting? So you're getting those 2 parts, flight plus roll, to give you the end result of the shot. Okay, experiment a little bit with different clubs. Don't think you can only do it one club. As we said back there, if you were 40 yards away and you wanted to play it with a little hybrid, I'm not going to stop you. From here, if you want to play it with a 56, a 60, a 50, it doesn't matter. Find the club that works for you so you get the success. I'm a massive believer in that. Okay, everybody's different. There is not one way to play this game. There's lots of different ways. Okay, experiment a little bit with it. Have fun with it. Enjoy hitting good shots. I say that to all my lessons. How much fun is it? And take away the thought process of it going wrong. Think about executing the shot well. When you do that, it's so much fun. I hope you've enjoyed that video. For me, it's so important. If you've got success with pitching around the greens, it takes a bit of pressure off going into the green from a distance, because psychologically then you think, well, if I miss the green, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get down in 3 at the worst. And as you get better, start to think, can I get it up and down in 2? Give yourself that chance. If you have enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends. Also, press that little bell for the notifications, because I send out videos every Tuesday and Friday. So please watch the videos, and there's now over 250 videos there for you to look at. Please enjoy them, and I look forward to seeing you soon.